Johnny and Shiny, the mouth of the South from Rockaway. Your New Yorker Sports Rant begins now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, mouth of the South? This is Portchester. We are live in Portchester, baby. This is the New Yorker Sports Rant. And one thing I've got to say, and Anita, I love you, but you're saying, about how OCU and yours is overrated. Let's examine this, because you know I always bring the facts when I rant, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal. Umanura's good seasons came under Spagnuolo. Yes, last year you might want to throw that away because of that devastating injury. This year, no excuses. I want to see if Umanura, tough, let's just throw the rest of the Giants' defense into that mix. I want to see if these guys could possibly play well without their wonderful mentor, Steve Spagnuolo. Because you know what? I think that defense wasn't overly talented. I think it was extremely well coached, and everybody knows in the NFL, it is definitely a chess game. It's a team sport. You can place a bunch of people that are on practice squads in the right formations, and they'll make the plays about 60 to 70% of the time. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That's my first point. My second point, I'm going to go into what the both of you said about the Mets and how I hate this organization. I do. The first thing about being a Mets fan, by the way, just to let all of you know, the first rule of being the Mets fan is that you absolutely must hate the New York Mets. You must hate them with every fiber of your being. And right now, it's not the New York Mets. If you take a look at the TV screens when they're actually playing this game, you're watching another episode of Manaea's mistakes. 4-1, they're losing right now in the 6th inning. Manaea's mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, somebody actually made a catch. That's Angel Pagan. He's the only decent player on this team right now. Let me explain something else. Mythbuster time. Myth number 1. The Wilpons are not spending money on this team. Since 2005, I love to bring up that number. Since 2005, when Omar Minaya became the general manager, only 2 teams have spent more money on their opening day payroll than the New York Metropolitans. Those would be the Boston Red Sox with over $800 million and the New York Yankees spending over $1.2 billion. What the Mets have spent is $730 million. They are closer to $1 billion in 6 years. I don't understand. It is a lousy return on the investment, but which brings me to point number 2. And this flabbergasts the hell out of me. The Wilpons can't agree about Manaea's future. Because when you ask Fred Wilpon, will Omar Minaya be the general manager of the New York Mets next season? His answer is, will the sun come up tomorrow? I never knew that being 73 makes you senile, but apparently that's his answer. So, that's thing number 1. But Jeff Wilpon, and this is according to Mets Insiders in an article that I read on ESPN. According to Mets Insiders, Jeff Wilpon has been openly hostile towards Omar Minaya. Openly hostile. He's yelling at him about how he has poorly spent the money. So somebody actually freaking agrees with me on this point. Luckily, it's the owner of the Mets. So you know what? When you tie up about $50 million in 2 players that aren't worth their salt at all, Oliver Perez and Luis Castillo, and you're not jettisoning these guys to be doomed to play in the minor leagues, you know, Wilpon actually blamed Minaya for Perez not going to the minors, saying he was too friendly. You know what? This organization is in shambles. There's no accountability. And quite honestly, as a Met fan, yes, the sun will come up tomorrow. But unfortunately, if you look at the free agent class of 2011 and realize that the Mets are not going to spend money to get Lee or Crawford, the sun isn't going to come up. The Mets tomorrow is not until 2012. 2012, you're waiting for the end of the world and the Mets to actually be a playoff contender again. That's my take on it.
All right. I actually think the Mets will continue to scale the payroll back, which is something that they've been doing now for the last few seasons.
Oh, they're going to. You know that's going to happen.
There's no question about it.
Well, let's hope they scale it back in the correct way by dropping K-Rod's contract, because you know.
Well, they're going to try, but they're going to lose. So if you're going to have to pay, you might as well keep the guy around or trade him. I don't see any point in cutting him and being responsible, being on the hook for $15 million.
Well, of course, but
when somebody will take him off your hands.
But here's the deal.